Okay, so I want to get right into today's topics. I want to talk about kind of the new developments that we're seeing in DeFi and talk about maybe some pitfalls of DeFi that we're seeing at this moment. Forms of centralization in DeFi that do exist that can make them susceptible to the regulations and the repercussions of, not being regulatory compliant. And so one of those things it's a super legitimate thing to be aware of, is this concept of admin keys, also known as like God mode. Pretty much, I think there's like 12 out of 15 of the popular DeFi platforms, the lending platforms and such, that have this God mode enabled. The ones that don't are, I think, Aave now, because they have migrated from Lend to Aave, and they have established this kind of community governance. I believe they also qualify for this. So maybe it's 11 out of 15. Anyway, so there's MakerDAO, Uniswap, Instadap, and now Aave, I believe, is kind of like a safer mode. It's great that this is becoming more brought to light, have a conversation revolving around the centralization that we're seeing in DeFi, it being, a really cool development in crypto. I've spoken about it a lot, how it's really great. We're experimenting how our money can work for us in many different ways. Lowering the barrier of entry, I think, is always great. Freedom in crypto, what you can do with your wealth, I think, is always something great. But the way that you go about it, the way that you implement it is important. Another example of these DeFi platforms really kind of showing their cards of exactly how much control they have over their coins, over their platform, their network with this God mode admin keys was when a KuCoin hack happened, and it targeted a lot of ERC20 tokens. Many of them were DeFi projects, and you saw how those projects were all of a sudden able to freeze those coins. How were they able to do that? They have an admin key, and this admin key allows them to, here, let me see. It allows them to pretty much change the code however they see fit. And it can, here it says, in reality, when it comes to the DeFi platforms, there are increased risks. One of them is linked to the private keys held by the platform administrators. These are like the founders or the developers who are running the network, who have the ability to modify the rules of the contract in an arbitrary manner. Anyway, all the links that you're seeing displayed behind me that I'm going to talk about today are available for you down below in the video description as well. But these admin keys, it's pretty much, these guys are able to do whatever they want with the coins. And that KuCoin hack was a perfect example of them flexing that muscle, really. And that if these regulators, if they're ever interested, that's a red flag for them to go ahead and check them out. If they wanted to regulate those platforms, that's definitely a heavy sign that they would be able to, by putting pressure on those specific developers. So here's a quote from a Bitcoin maximalist, Riccardo Spagini, saying, "It's amazing that all these decentralized finance systems have the ability to suspend accounts." That's referring to this Rarible platform was able to suspend an account from someone who was not obeying the what's the terms of service. But so anyway, here's also a great article from Cryptonomist, DeFi and Admin Keys and an Unsolved Problem. It's a great article. They go over the common ways that these keys are kind of organized. It's a weak bandage for something that is such an issue as complete centralized control, complete control over that network. And so these coins or these projects that have an admin key or God mode, the way that they're organized, they often have a multi-sig wallet. That means typically it's like 5 people will have a signature for a wallet to enact change, and they only need like 3 out of the 5 to go ahead and enact that change, or to sign to confirm that they want that action to happen, and then it can happen. A few of these only have like 2 out of 3, which is like so weak. If you're considering how much money is locked up in DeFi, you have Uniswap, which doesn't qualify for this. They do not have admin keys, which is good because Uniswap has $2 billion worth of tokens that are locked up in their platform. Also, Synthetics, I believe, was one that had or maybe it was Aave. Aave has also a huge amount of money involved in it. And that one has also luckily moved towards self-governance. So hopefully this is something that we're seeing a whole lot more of these DeFi projects moving towards. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of red flags out here. Another kind of, I guess, safety mechanism that they have for this admin keys are things called time locks, which pretty much it makes a delay for when a change happens until when it's actually enacted. So if for some reason, it's a nefarious actor or someone, hacked into the way that these administrators are securing their keys for the God mode of this network, I've talked about EOS and there are a limited number of block producers, and how if a hacker wanted to, it's very small number for them to have to kind of override or get into to take control of the network. And similarly with these DeFi platforms, we only have like 3 or 5 people, not even. They would need to get just the majority. So like 2 or 3 people, do a phishing attack, or, however they have to do. Sorry. I'm sorry, I totally lost my thought. It's like a very non-decentralized way to run a platform that is becoming so popular. So many people want to get into it. It's next new thing of crypto, but it's not very many of them are built in a very secure way. So